Campaign trail heating up today with just 5 more days until Election Day. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump making their way southwest. Both candidates stumping in Arizona and Nevada later on today. CBS News political director Fin Gómez back with us to preview these campaigns today. Thanks so much for joining us, Fin. Always good to see you. Former President Trump once again in the hot seat for his comments about women, saying he would protect them if they like it or not. Vice President Harris responded just moments ago. Let's take a listen.
I will comment on the former President Donald Trump's remark about women and whether they like it or not. And listen, it actually is, I think, very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority, their right, and their ability to make decisions about their own lives, including their own bodies. And this is just the latest on a series of reveals by the former president of how he thinks about women and their agency.
Yeah, Fin, those comments made by the former president being called deeply misogynistic by people on both sides of the aisle. But do moments like that really hurt him, though?
They don't hurt him with his base. They don't really hurt him with the people that he knows are likely to mobilize and vote for him. However, what the Harris campaign is doing there, what they're seeing is this is a strategic opening for them to amplify and to have voters remember that there is a very key issue here that's central to her campaign, and that is abortion rights, reproductive rights. It's also a strategic effort. It allows them to have a strategic effort to make an appeal to more moderate Republican women voters, some of whom they're targeting in the suburbs of Philadelphia, suburbs of Phoenix, places like that, where they feel that this message can contrast. Also, if you remember, Elizabeth, there is such a wide gender gap right now, where you see the majority of women voters supporting her, male voters supporting him, and this way they feel that there's more space on their side to garner more votes.
They were really seeing that gender gap in places like Texas. I want to switch gears, though, here.
Yeah.
Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, trying to appeal to younger voters. Meanwhile, Governor Tim Walz had this to say about student debt earlier today.
Donald Trump had so badly botched the COVID pandemics, we were out there fighting with our neighbors to get toilet paper. That's the Trump economy. So look, if you were a billionaire like his good buddy Elon Musk, things were really good because you got a tax cut, the rest of us got screwed. That's the way it worked during that time. Now Elon says he is going to be, and Trump says it, he's going to be Trump's economy czar. Now he says to make the economy work better, we're going to have to crash it first in order to save it. Now he told you, get ready. Elon said, American folks, you're going to go through some hardships. Now you tell me, what the hell does the richest man on earth know about hardship? But he promised to do this. He said they're going to cut $2 trillion in spending. Now remember, Donald Trump's the king of debt. Ran up more debt than ever, bankrupted his own company 6 times, brags. His own words said, I'm the king of debt. Elon says the way we get a handle on this is to cut $2 trillion in discretionary spending. You know how much this country spends right now each year on discretionary spending? $1.6 trillion. So that leaves you absolutely no other option than to going to cut Social Security and Medicare and the things that we care most about. That's what they're going to do. So we're going to win.
All right, I want to clarify. Tim Walz there just speaking about the economy and COVID recovery there. Let's talk about the economy for just a second. Then we're going to get to that student debt issue, Fin. How well is the Harris campaign doing in making their case that they are going to be best for the U.S. economy when we know the economy is the top issue on so many voters' minds? And it's worth noting that Trump leads in our recent polls when it comes to the economy. How are they doing?
When it comes to young voters specifically, there is a pretty large difference with support for Harris having, I think it's double digits, almost more than 20 points when you look at our latest CBS data and polling. And so the Harris campaign believes that they can make and have made the strongest case to younger voters, especially on the economy, on housing, which is a top issue in places like Arizona and Nevada, but also one that's central again, which is reproductive rights with young women voters. They feel they can mobilize them on that issue. While yes, the economy, inflation, cost of things, top issue of this cycle. And if you look at, again, that same data and polling, the majority of voters support Donald Trump on that issue and on his platform specifically to that issue. So if they can close, it's all about closing the gap and mobilizing the base supporters and trying to expand their territory to try to appeal to more young voters. We'll see if that happens. We're 5 days out.
All right, Fin Gómez. I got to ask you though, sir, I mean, with 5 days left, do you have any like kind of election day traditions that you're going to do there on Tuesday morning?
Yeah, it's called drink a bucket of caffeine. That's about.
And then afterwards, drink a bucket of something else, right?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.